Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm continuing my series of evaluating every single NHL franchise that is not in the playoffs currently, and looking at what's next. What's next for the team? Where are they headed? What do they look like now, and where are they headed? Today I want to look at the newest member of the NHL, the Utah Mammoth. The Utah Mammoth. They had an eventful first season. They looked really exciting, and where they're going is very exciting. And so I want to take a look here and look at where they're at and what their current everything is. What do they have in the front office? What do they have behind the bench? What do they have on the ice? So right now, their record this season. The record this season was 38, 31, 13, and that was good for 89 points. They were really close. They were really close to the playoffs this season. I personally predicted them to make it in, but they did fall short, which is too bad because the fan base. It's interesting to think about who the fan base of the Utah Mammoth are right now. I'd love to honestly see that or hear from people, hear from fans. If there are any people in the comments who are Utah Mammoth fans, I'd love to know why. Are you from Utah, or is it because you're coming in from the Arizona Coyotes fan base? But sure enough, I think that they will get there very soon, in short order. 89 points, though, is a huge improvement from their past seasons. Last season was pretty piss poor. 36, 41, and 5 for 76 points. They were below 500. It's a huge jump. 13 points in a very competitive Central Division. So it's very encouraging for the Utah Mammoth here. They're a young team, and they've got a lot of people coming up still. Like, they've got a lot of prospects still that they drafted that they're still going to make their way into the team. So if they already have made such a big jump now, I can't wait to see what's next. Right now, their GM is currently Bill Armstrong, who is the architect of all this success, I would say. I think he's a fantastic GM, and he's done it right. It may have been a little slow, especially while they're in Arizona, but you can point the finger pretty easily at the former owner there in Arizona. He was everything you don't want an owner to be. Their coach, who I think is quite underrated as a coach, Andre Tourigny. I hope that they make the playoffs with him behind the bench. I hope that they don't have to fire him and then they make it, because I think that he deserves to be rewarded for all the work he's done with this group of with his team. Andre Tourigny, I think that he coaches the game quite well. I think he knows how to speak to young players as well. I want to look at the roster. So your top six of Keller, Cooley, and Gunther, that's a fantastic first line. That's really solid. The second line is where I have my concerns, and I'll get into that when I look at my critiques of the team and how I would think that they would try and get better. But the second line, you got Schmaltz, Hayton centering the second line, and Yamamoto. On defense, you've got Sergachev and Durzi, who I think that's a very strong first line of defense. Getting Sergachev this season was a huge add and has been very helpful for the team as a whole. Durzi is, I always say that he's one of my favorite fantasy players. I love picking up Durzi in fantasy hockey. But in real life, he's also great. He's a little injured sometimes, but Durzi is a real underrated player. Your second line of defense is probably not where you want it to be eventually, but Cole and Marino is serviceable. Marino, I think that, I don't know, I hope he finds a true home here. He's bounced around now to a few teams. But yeah, so Marino was a once highly touted prospect. We'll see if he, with some more stability in Utah. Maybe he can figure it out. And then your goalies being Vejmelka and Ingram. Ingram kind of stole the net last season, but it looks like it's Vejmelka's going forward. He kind of stole it back there. Best wishes to Ingram as he's in the Players Assistance Program. Vejmelka looks really good. Veggie, yeah, no. So I think that their goaltending is in a good spot. I don't see that there's too much tweaking that I would do on the goaltending side of it. You look at some stats, and this feeds into what I want to talk about what they need to improve or what they're already good at. So goals for the 21st, which is not where you want it to be. Goals for, you want it to be at least in the top half of the league. And I think that there's not a real cause for concern because their forward core, their 4 lines of forwards, that can be improved. It's not like that's like some finished product and they're still making 21st goals per game. It's definitely, it's got some holes, and I'm sure that a lot of those will be filled this offseason. They're going to try and improve. There's no more, with their new owner in Utah. It's there's no stopping. They're full steam ahead. Goals against 17th, so that's middle of the pack. Definitely can be improved, obviously, but with Sergachev there now, I don't know if Andre Tourigny, if I have to give him a critique, I don't know if he's the best I don't know if he's the best coach at coaching defensive schemes, but they got to figure it out. They got to come together, and it's a lot of times defense is a team. It's a team thing. You need to work it out as a team together. It's not just on the 6 guys who play defense. Power play percentage is 10th. That's very good. Yeah, I mean, they're converting on 24.2% of all power play chances they get. That's really solid, being in the top 10. And again, where your goals for is indicative of your forward core not being where you want it to be, but yet they're still that high on power play. That means that the only way is up, right? So that's very encouraging. And then penalty kill percentage. Penalty kill percentage is at 15th. They're stopping the opponent's power play 79.3% of the time. So 15th, right around the middle of the pack, kind of aligns with their goals against. And yeah, if they can just improve defense as a whole, I'm sure their penalty kill percentage will go up as well. But they do reach the magic number, 24 plus 79. It's over 100, which means that they're, as a whole, their special teams is doing pretty well. But it can be improved, but it's doing well. So what's the Utah Mammoth's identity? If you had to define the Mammoth and where they are in their outlook, where are they in their ascension to cup contention? If the number one identity to have is being a cup contender, where do they fall in that staircase? Well, so I have them as their identity. I have them as an ascender, and the way I define ascender, I gave the same identity when I did the Montreal Canadiens outlook and kind of preview. I think that being an ascender, you're not a rebuilder anymore, right? You're not a rebuilder. You're not even a real retooler. That's kind of a whole different thing in itself. But what I have an ascender meaning is that you've passed the rebuild stage. You're no longer acquiring young prospects and picks. You're not hoarding all that. You're trying to get into the playoffs and make it squarely in the playoffs. You're not there yet. They haven't made the playoffs, right, in many years. So I have them as the ascender. They're on their way, and they could be there as soon as next season. It's going to be tough. It's a very competitive division, the Central. It's right up there with, let's say, the Atlantic. They're two very competitive divisions, but yeah, that they're on the way up. They're on the rise. That's why they're an ascender. Next season outlook. What does the organization hope for next season? Obviously, like I said in the Canadians video, you hope for a cup, but if we're being realistic with our expectations, I think that they just want to make playoffs. So if that's being a wild card team, that's being a wild card team. So that's what I have them as their next season outlook. It's like their goal, their next step, become a wild card playoff team. And the keys to success. How are they going to get there? What do they need to improve in order to make that goal come true? So for one, you need a top six winger. As I talked about the second line, it's pretty flawed. I'm going to talk about 1 and 3 in the same vein, because why not? You've got your great first line: Keller, Cooley, Gunther. Fantastic. Love it. No concerns from me. Your second line, you got Schmaltz. I like Schmaltz, but no one else. Yamamoto, look, I wish him the best, but I don't think he's a part of your top six. And I think the Hayton experiment, Barrett Hayton, I think that they tried it, and for many years now, actually more patience than I would have thought they would have given. But I just don't think that he's clear cut. He's cut out to be, your second line center. So for two of those keys, I say that you need a top six winger and you need a second line center. So you need two additions in your top six. It's a hard ask, especially in a weaker free agency class. But that's why you get freaky with trades. You get creative. That's why GMs get the big bucks, is because you got to come up with ways to make your team better. You can only pull so many excuses, right? And this new owner is going to demand a lot. So they've got a cupboard full of picks and prospects. Maybe if you're the Utah team, unless it's Tija Ginla, maybe you look at some of the other prospects and say, maybe we don't need these guys. We want now help. So I think that all of it, all the ways to improve for next season, I think it's all on the ice. I don't think that the coach should be fired. I don't think they need a new head coach. I like the coaching job. I think that they just need to get better players. And then my last key to success is they need another top 4D, and I'd say preferably right-handed. I don't know if Marino's going to cut it out, but I'm not saying trade him necessarily. Just move him down the lineup. Don't have him be in your top 4. You need another top 4 addition on the defense. I think that would do wonders. So if they can have a huge offseason, and that's, if they can go through free agency, find the right players for them, if they can work out a trade or something, and they've got money to spend, and they've got a good owner now, because he's not afraid to spend it, which is really, really good news for the Utah Mammoth. So yeah, that's my assessment of where the Utah Mammoth are right now and where I think that they're going to be headed next. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be continuing this series until we get through all 32 teams. And yeah, until then, see you next video.